Hi. I wanted to say a few words about the Israeli hostages getting released right now as a part of a deal with the terror organization Hamas in exchange of Palestinian prisoners with blood on their hands, basically. So, as a general rule, I'm against any negotiations with any terror group whatsoever. Full stop. That's the general rule. The reason it's like that, it's because when you negotiate with terrorists and when you basically break all kinds of deals with them, you just embolden them, you incentivize others to take these methods, use these methods of terrorism, and you don't want to encourage that. Now, in different parts of Jerusalem, and I guess in other parts of the country, I've seen the call for what is called Pidyon Shvuim. It means to redeem the prisoners or to redeem the hostages, basically, which means it's a religious commandment in Judaism to redeem, not to leave people that were taken hostage, not to leave them. Now, this brings me to the second point, which Israel and Israelis need to leave this ghetto mentality that we had because of our very long exile. We just have to leave that. We are not there. We're not in a ghetto. We have an army. We're not a vulnerable as we used to be. We have an army. We have security forces, and the call for Pidyon Shvuim, the call for the redeeming of the hostages, again coming from, for example, famously quoted by Maimonides 1,000 years ago. This is talking about different reality of Israel. We're not there. The nation of Israel used to be in exile. It's no longer in exile since 1948, and because of that, we need to act not like a bunch of Jews in a ghetto, but as people that have a kingdom. And people that have a kingdom do what, for example, King David did when his families and his kin were basically taken hostage by Amalek in a place called Ziklag. He chased them. He chased them and killed them, and took back all the women and children and the loot, the booty. So that's the kind of models that we're supposed to have, not the ghetto mentality. So again, not to negotiate with terrorists, just to annihilate them and to get out of that ghetto mentality. Now, the third point I want to make is regarding, I call it the faceless victims of these kind of deals. So we know the names and we know the faces of all those who were kidnapped and taken hostage by Hamas on October 7th. We know them. Their faces are all over. So we know who they are, and our hearts goes to them. And it's on one hand, yes, we have the solidarity of Israel. People are very much united around that kind of things. And to some extent, it's even heartwarming. Okay, so it's not all bad. Okay, but what about the faceless victims? Okay, so essentially, the people that we see now that were taken hostage, they are those faceless victims of the Shalit deal back in 2000, can't remember, 11, I think. So, because, for example, Yahya Sinwar and all the rest of the terrorists, they were released back then, and now we're eating the fruits of this terrible deal of exchanging one Israeli soldier, Gilad Shalit, for more than 1,000 terrorists that were imprisoned in Israel. So again, I'm against having those deals because of the faceless victims, those who you don't know their names right now. So how many people are going to suffer from the hands of those that are going to be released? We don't know. Okay, so we need to think about them. The fact that we don't see their names, the fact that we don't have their posters in front of our eyes, doesn't mean they don't exist. They do exist. I could be one of them, by the way. So my child could be one of them. So this is again the faceless victims point. Now, as far as this particular deal, okay, I won't elaborate much about it. But the current government of Israel is so irresponsible. The current prime minister that has been around for more than 15 years or so irresponsible that I must say that this is the only reason why I would say let's have a deal, because these people are just the worst, okay? Are just the worst. They don't know what they're doing, okay? And they're gonna do so many mistakes on the way of fighting Hamas that I just prefer that. I don't prefer that, but I'm just saying there is a place in my heart that says maybe we should release them, because these irresponsible people, the government, the current government, and the Prime Minister Netanyahu, they're so irresponsible, they're so reckless, they're so they are the architects of the disaster that we're looking at, okay? And this video is not so much about the politics of it, but my focus is, again, just to say that I do have a place in my heart that says that there is the general rule and there is the particular constellation right now, which makes me feel like maybe it's a good thing that we had the deal, because otherwise I'm not even sure if we'd ever see those people. Yeah. So I'll add maybe one more thing. Even when women and children are taken hostage during war, under probably any other government, I would say don't release anyone, just annihilate the terrorists. But with this particular government, I'm not sure. I'm not so sure. I'm not that sure that this would be the right thing. So I hope to have a fruitful, let's say, conversation over the chat here. If you want to have any comments, if you want to ask questions, I'm just sharing what I feel, what I think is right, and I'll be happy to hear you. I'll be happy to hear your thoughts and write on the comments, okay? So this is it from me. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.